coming on Wednesday.
I've got that in the schedule.
So just think about tomorrow.
Cool.
All right, buddy.
Hey, folks. We're live, Joe.
Hey.
I'm eating
just killing some time.
What
are you eating?
My favorite fruit combo, watermelon and pineapple.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever combined those two. I like watermelon with lime.
Sweet watermelon with lime's great.
Yeah.
It's like a sour sweet candy. It's good.
It sounds like it. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's an interesting combination.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Because, the watermelon's got that nice sort of alkaline flavor to it, where it doesn't taste super sour, but it tastes like it's got something. And then pineapple, of course, is super acidic.
Mm-hmm.
So it must be a good combination. I'll have to try that. Might be good in a smoothie, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most definitely a good in a smoothie, man. Most good.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to the dentist today.
Yeah. Yeah. It's never really much to do, good. But it's like one of those things where I just procrastinate. It's kind of like doing the scramble right now to get new contact lenses. I didn't realize my prescription was expired. And so, then I'm like, but now they're convenient. They let you do a prescription online. And I'm like, that's going to, it's like, so stand 10 feet away and read these letters. It's like, okay.
Really? Yeah. You
totally. Well, I think they're not issuing new prescriptions. They're just kind of like doing a dummy up of whatever you already have. And so, like you have to basically say you did the exam within the last 2 years, and you have to, you can't say that you need a new prescription. So it's just kind of skirting the issues of people needing a prescription for, disposable contacts, or, I just shred through those things because, I'll put them in the morning and literally pull them out when I'm in bed at night kind of thing. So,
wow. I have not ever used contacts. I've always been a glasses guy. I mean, I didn't start wearing glasses till I was 40, but still, I have not experienced it. It gives me the heebies, the idea of sticking my fingers in my eye.
A lot of people freak out on that. It's but they've gotten a lot better since. I remember my first pair in the last millennium. And you had to have these boxes where I think they're actually made out of glass. And you had to have these boxes where you sterilize them at night.
Oh, yeah.
All this is total pain in the behind. And
you don't have to do any of that?
So one day, or you just basically open it, stick them in, and throw them away when you're done.
That's cool.
So you get it ends up being about like $700 a year for two, for both eyes, of course, for every day. Whereas, when I was really buying a lot of like prescription sunglasses and stuff, those were always like, I remember those being like $700-800.
Oh yeah.
And, so to me, I like it better. And I mean, these are like just readers that I throw on when I have to like, look at computer screens and things like that, or look at a small screen or read. But, the contacts are great.
Well, that's awesome.
I recommend it, but my dad's the same way. He freaks out about the eyes.
Yeah.
Where I freak out about needles and things like that. He just can't do eyes. And sometimes, I'll be like, wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, are those contact lenses still in or not? And I'm like trying to move around and I'll be like trying to see if one's in there. And of course there's not one in there. And you're like rubbing, you got your finger on your eye trying to find it and you can't find it. It just goes to show you how, at the beginning I'd be freaked out, 30 odd years ago, where now I'll just stick my finger in my eye and not there. But it's not too handy during the COVID times, that's for sure.
Yeah. No,
sticking viral load in your eyes all the time. That's the one downside, is you really got to make sure your hands are clean. Chuck weighing in, because you can't pass colds and stuff around if you're not careful.
Yeah.
But so, hey, I was telling Brad before you guys got on that I don't know if anybody's been playing around with the ordinals lately, but I was playing around with Ordinal Finance and Ordnex over the last like 4 or 5 days. And, those have been popping. I did like, Ordinal Finance did like a 4 or 5X over like 2 or 3 days. And, Ordnex, I just moved winnings onto that yesterday. But
so are you creating Are you creating NFTs or what are you
No,
doing? No.
I'm just speculating.
So you're buying them
I'm
on the
trading.
market, reselling them, flipping
No,
them.
I'm just buying the tokens. I'm not buying NFTs. Yeah, I'm just
Oh,
buying
these are
tokens.
projects that have tokens too. I get it. I
Right.
didn't understand that.
Yeah. Well, it's quite the buzz, and I started thinking about it. That the IRS kind of came out quietly a few days ago and said that with NFTs that they're not securities or collectibles. They don't know
Really?
what they are. Yeah.
Huh.
So I mean, I would assume you should still report those winnings if you have any. But to me, I was thinking about NFTs and I was thinking about the Bitcoin chain and Bitcoin DeFi and all those things. And it seems to kind of hit a lot of the things that a lot of our listeners like, NFTs and, extending the use case of Bitcoin.
Right?
So, I started messing around with it, but, I mean, I don't know anything about these companies. I'm just playing the movements and that's it. But, for the traders amongst us, it might be something to take a look at.
Where do the tokens live on like ETH or something?
Yeah, they're on ETH.
Okay.
So you do have to put up with, the $15 gas fees, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
for each one. Um, and one of them had a tax. It says on CoinGecko it has a tax transaction, like a slippage thing. Like, remember how I think it was Azuki had one where if you sold, you had to set slippage of like 8% or something to cover the
Uh-huh.
exit tax.
Right.
But they got rid of that, so there isn't one anymore. And I think that was Ordnex. But any more ordinal companies people run across, I'd love to talk about them more on the show.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's an interesting place that can get a lot of attention right now. And everywhere I turn around, it's just NFT this, NFT that. And then I go look at OpenSea and I'm like, okay, so there's a lot of talk, but I don't see a lot of action over here.
Well, I'm just curious how trading over here in tokens relates to the NFTs that are created on Binance, on Bitcoin with ordinals. I'm curious about that. I really want to check it out. That's cool.
Oh, I don't know if well, look, I don't know if the tokens have any like platform functionality per se. I think their mantras are something like, build the best platform for, either trading. One was like, what was it calling it? Getting mixed up with life sciences in my head, but it sounded like it was like transcriptors or something like that, which I guess is the pointers
Right.
of where they are. And then the other one's trying to build a big ecosystem out like a Blur or an OpenSea or something like that. So I have a feeling that they're more just, tokens to raise money than actual, like, I mean, maybe the pointer one might be some technical functionality, but I think they're just raising to go build the, biggest and best thing ever. And, we know how that goes.
Yeah.
It doesn't always go well. And so, it's definitely something to look at. It's fun. I made money on it.
Awesome.
But, it doesn't make you think. I went down to the NFT Miami conference last week or Friday. And, I really didn't. There you go, Chuck. Yes, there you go, buddy. Dude, it was like, other than the strippers working out front, to like generate customers, there wasn't a lot going on there, dude. It was like that convention center got compressed down to like about 20% of the space. And I mean, they were valiantly trying, but look, if there were no ordinals companies there, there was no like, I'm trying to think. I saw one company there exhibiting that I actually knew who it was, and it wasn't Chainlink, but it was somebody like that. It was like, wow, what are they doing here? So it was gone are the days of the line going around the block to get into the Miami NFT conference. So, but I did meet one group, but I met some locals there that I want to introduce you to in particular. New metaverse type company, but it's a phone deployed one, and it allows you to do a whole bunch of like digital avatar kind of stuff, digital me, second me, or whatever you want to call that stuff. And they're local, and it's a public company subsidiary. So
nice.
I was thinking about what I mentioned the stuff that we were doing with what's Corey's company called? Corey.
Yeah, I know. I'm having a brain fart.
Now I want to say Lewandowski, but that was Trump's campaign guy. It's
No,
yeah, it's not him. It's what's it
hold
like
on, I'll find
Upliftium or Upland or something like that?
Uplift World,
Yeah.
Uplift World. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Well, I
God, I'm
kind
so
of
glad you
mentioned a
brought it up.
little. I was mentioning that little demo that Chuck put together, and what was going on in Minecraft and in Uplift, and they're all over it. So we need to talk about that. But it's what I was getting to the extension I was getting to is how who knows what's happening with ordinals and NFTs, and everybody's talking metaverse last year, and all these metaverse are empty basically.
Right.
So people are looking for applications and functionality, and these guys being a sub of a public company, they have budget, they have money, all of those things. So I thought it'd be a good,
Yeah,
maybe something
absolutely.
to revisit with them.
Well, I mean, I think you and
Um,
I called metaverse a long time ago that there just wasn't a there just wasn't anything captivating to keep people in there all the time. Nobody wanted to live there. I mean, it's just not there.
yeah,
The other ones that came before it that were not, token based, crypto based, they were a game that built the community, that built the capabilities, right? And so just this general world that looks cool and has some funky interface and capabilities it's not enough to keep people in it. It's just not enough.
no.
It's not enough to make you click and go back to it. It's not. It's just not. It's
You, what made me intrigued by these guys is for the same reasons, same points I said to them that we just said. It's I was like, nobody's going to be sitting in a friggin' Chase Lounge with a headset on all day playing in the metaverse. That's just not going to happen.
No.
But then he started talking about the mobile app, and I started thinking, maybe the metaverse does play in ways where instead of, where people are just scrolling through feeds on social and stuff, maybe if it turned into like the scroll, like the de facto kill time move, on your mobile while you're sitting on the train or something like that, killing time instead of rolling through social. Or maybe if there's a way to do, I don't know if they said they had this or not, but maybe there's a way to do decentralized social in a metaverse platform. So people go there to see social media postings and things like that. I mean, I don't know if that's possible. I'm sure it is,
I don't
but
know.
or I don't know if everybody's already doing it. But I think if it takes over that like time kill function of like, where people are just killing time on the phones, that might have some applications, but not in a sense of go hang out and bungee jump or something like that, but in
Well, and it's not a
ways that are work
submerged world.
processes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
until it's like built into my glasses or something, this idea, I might want to play with it on my phone. I like that, and it makes sense. I like the idea of when you're killing time that's a perfect use of that. But are you going to put on the fucking headset, or are you going to load up into the world on your browser? I don't know, and I just think that I don't think the tech is where it needs to be yet. The hardware tech, like Apple's coming out with a new headset, which I think is a smart move from the perspective of they're doing AR, VR hybrid, right? So
Yeah.
you'll be able to use it in the real world and augment the real world with games, graphics, etc. That at least I think has a little more application to something I would want to spend time in. But I don't want to wear a headset all fucking day, right? And they're very focused with it on meetings, movie watching, that kind of thing, which that's what a lot of people end up doing with the Meta headset. So I don't know.
But you're right, dude. Real quick before we jump into Shizzy's comment, because we have a lot to say there, obviously, is that I am wondering if people really need that fully immersive experience.
Right.
Or I mean, in the sense of like you said, with a headset on, a 360 or 180-degree view. I don't know if people really want it or need it. I mean, yes, certain applications, gaming and things like that would be cool. But for what we're talking about, taking over your scroll feed basically to knock out some tasks, you don't need it.
Yeah.
So, maybe there's some combination here that is like metaverse light and that can do something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I think, look, physical integration with what your body doing is going to become more important. Evidently, Apple's has like 40 cameras on it. Right. But it's also $2,000 a headset, but it has like 40 cameras. So you don't need controllers. You don't need anything. You can whatever your body's doing, it's going to do. And so I think there's an opportunity there for them, but again, I think we're years away from the hardware getting to the point where, yeah, I'm happy to live in this world and that world because it's seamless, right? I don't have to wear something on my head. I don't have to do something to get into the world. I can just say, visit, so and so, and it's in my glasses, and boom, I go, and then whatever. I don't know. So, oh wait, what else? Shizzy said NFTs need a jolt. I think that won't happen until anime cartoon companies jump into Web3. It makes sense. I mean, I think that would drive a shit ton. But there's a high percentage of that market too that is opposed to NFTs. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Chuck says,
the artist side of it. Yeah.
Oops, maybe time to issue some NFTs for something cool, like, I don't know, maybe executable NFTs. He's hinting around on something he's working on. People to get comfortable with the idea that NFTs are used for stuff besides digital images or game assets. Of course, I agree with you there, Chuck. They are awesome analogs for real world assets as well as permissioning/provisioning applications. Yeah, and there's a ton of functionality that can be built into NFTs that we're starting to see this. Some protocols trying to do stuff there, but I don't think they've really taken off yet. Niblet says, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I was going to say, remember when we were talking to a developer in El Salvador that was doing an NFT project down there on a real estate development where each unit was an NFT.
Yep.
And, I lost track with them somewhere along the way, but, Chuck would be the ideal person to pull that together with his Invenium experience. Yeah. And his other experience,
absolutely.
That something, I'm trying to find a project around here. That is one of my real estate developer buddies who wants to try something along that line, but it's just people just glaze over when they hear anything related to tech right now from that space, because they're just too winged up, fudded out, basically.
I think the key to that kind of the real world assets play is you make it so that it's a digital interface to accessing and buying and investing. And you make it so that the setup of a wallet doesn't look like it's a setup of a wallet. And, you're storing an NFT for them, but they don't need to know that. And then you can tell them later, hey, it's represented on the blockchain as an NFT. It's immutable. You can't lose it unless you sell it, right? And then you can explain further. But I actually think you can create an ecosystem around something that doesn't even look like it's crypto based, but you explain the benefits and the value of having it tokenized in some way. So anyway, Niblet says, Shizzy, image AI bringing anime and AI to Web3. All right, we'll need to take a look at image AI. He said with a side of naughty, which is what built the internet the first time. Well, it definitely.
Well, that's anime.
It definitely porn built the internet. So. Sean said, I don't understand anything anyone is saying.
Yeah, I thought that was funny too. I love it.
He says, I hang
one of the things, God, I was going to say, Shizzy, I thought that was pretty cool what he says right here, but look at, again, we've talked about it before, look at like Doki Doki, Azuki. There's a big play coming there with, in the game they developed after that project called Kizuna, Kizuna NFT. Go look at that because that game is supposedly ready to go live. And right after that happens, they're going to take all the leftover Azuki and Doki holders, anybody who used the gacha machines, that's going to all combine into a new token called gacha. So it's an easy way to kind of, if you own the Azuki and Doki stuff, you get in on the airdrop merge into gacha. And they're like, dirt cheap right now. I think the total market cap of the Doki Doki token is like 54,000. So if you went in and bought like 5% of it, let's say you drop, $5,000 on it, then you're going to have 10% of the weight of all the Doki holders in their wallets going into that merge airdrop situation. So if you weren't a big spinner of the machines like, Brad and I were, held that stuff, that's a good way to get in to get eligible for that gacha token, GACHA, I believe. But yeah, Doki Doki and Azuki doesn't help us if you do it, but it's a good way for anybody listening to go in. If that's their thing, anime, NFTs, all of that, it might be a way to play it.
Yep. Not financial advice. Joe and I are not financial advisors. We don't make anything from promoting it. We're just telling you what's going on. Shizzy says, I hang out in Oculus Venues app. I watch NBA games from courtside with a friend that lives in Denver. We can communicate like we are next to each other. That's cool. When you say watch games courtside, is this like a camera setup that's meant for the Oculus that actually like makes you feel like you're watching the game from that seat? That would be frigging awesome. I didn't even know that existed. If that's the way that functions, that's cool.
Yeah, that would be cool because
that's a use case I would do in a heartbeat.
I wonder if you could do I was just thinking when I go into a tennis tournament once and somehow the ticket I bought on StubHub wasn't working at the check-in place, and I got some tickets from somebody else, and then I called them, they refunded me the money, but it made me start thinking, since we're just talking about NFTs, if there was a way, if the ticket was an NFT, and maybe in this Oculus scenario, because you were talking about where the cameras are set up, well, what if you were buying virtual seats or, whatever, going through cable to do it, but you could get an actual virtual seat in the arena to watch the game from.
Yeah.
And you buy an NFT for that.
Oh, I like that.
And you get different seats. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. Like my son has an Oculus. I want to check and see if I could do that for my wife tonight to watch UConn, because she's, she was a cheerleader at UConn. She's very fired up for the game. And it would be so cool if she could watch her game live like that. That would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, you said UConn. I was seeing YUKON in my head. I was thinking, she was up in the UConn?
University of Connecticut.
Yeah.
Chuck says, Joe, the Invenium guys are working a lot in Miami. I can give you some contacts. They have several partners in the property valuation space that are already using it. There you go. Niblets.
That sounds cool. We'll follow up.
Shizzy says, yeah, it's a camera setup. I want to check this out. Niblet says, and sell the meta tickets based on NFTs. I love it. So your NFT grants you right to different court locations for the VR position. That's freaking awesome. I think you can get into a model here. But of course, you have to get access on the venues, et cetera, et cetera. But this is really cool. I mean, I want to check this out.
You could have it where it was just, like one camera for each section, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe because, in tennis, I'm thinking tennis, not basketball here. In tennis, the best seats, in my opinion, are like the baseline seats, the ones like behind the players, not on the side. I don't like the side because your head's always going like this back and forth the whole game. Yeah. And you're like, it's sore afterwards. Whereas in basketball, you kind of like center court or maybe like a quarter of the way up court so you can see a lot of the basket action from that angle. But, I don't really like the behind the goal seats in basketball. I mean, I'll take them, don't get me wrong, but it's not my favorite. So you could probably do less. And I was sort of thinking along the line of, you do a partnership with StubHub and, or Ticketmaster or whichever one you're using. And, with maybe, I don't know, maybe each ticket they sell it comes with, or maybe they have two categories. They have the in real life and they have the virtual one. And maybe you can pick the virtual seat up for, $25, or you can get the in real life one for, $800 or whatever you pay for those things. There might be a play there somehow. I don't know. What do you think?
I totally think there's like a ton of ways to mix and match this thing. This is friggin' amazing. I didn't know this existed.
Well, I was just looking at a conference thing for, some alt asset conference in London a couple weeks from now. And I was like, again, they have the virtual tickets too. And I started thinking, yeah, they've been doing that for conferences, selling like virtual tickets. And it seems to be working.
Yeah,
I bet
that's cool.
There is a way to really, because they've been trying to really specialize that viewer experience of basketball in particular for a while now.
Yeah.
And, it's not now all of a sudden you could sell more tickets than the stadium holds.
Imagine you could play a player. They have GoPros on their helmets. And you can watch as a player. Like on hockey.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool too. Oh, yeah. You need a screen stabilizer for that because you'd be getting rocked constantly, right?
So do you want to
Talk
know
about
how
like a headset fatigue.
I don't think we
Go ahead.
talked about this, but you know how Do Kwon actually got busted?
I know that they had some Costa Rican passports, but I don't know.
The
Was it?
passports were
Was
so
he,
bad that the customs guys were like, "What the fuck is this?" And that's how he
yeah,
got
wasn't
arrested.
it? Everybody was joking that he had Serb passports, and it was like his name was Do Quanich or whatever. But yeah, it was Costa Rica, and you would think with that kind of money you could do a little better than that.
Oh my god!
There's
It's like,
plenty
dude,
of countries you could show up in and just drop money and get a passport.
get a real one
Yeah,
instead of a
buy an
doctored
asset.
one, stupid shit one. Yeah, it's pitiful, pitiful.
Yeah, I remember the Telegram guys. They all went down after they had their big dust up with Putin and had their Facebook Russia thing kind of like forced sold from or bought from them. They went down there, I think it was Nevis, and set up there. And, all of a sudden, within a day, they're running around with Nevis passports. So,
Yeah. Look, you can buy anything.
there's
with
lots of
enough money.
places. So, yeah, so Do Quanich isn't that bright. I mean,
No.
Do Quan isn't that bright, it seems.
Crazy. There was a dust up this weekend, which I did a tweet about this. I just like, what the
Niblett
fuck?
said.
What'd he say?
What's the point of stealing billions if you cannot get fake passports good enough to fool the most bribable border guards in the world? Which is very true. Come on. I mean, you're standing there and you just pull out 50 grand. I'm pretty sure you're getting through customs in Montenegro.
Exactly. It's like, what the fuck, dude? So this weekend, Arbitrum released a proposal to manage the $1 billion worth of ARB that they have. And I did a mini tweet thread about this weekend because it's just this fucking brain dead communications of some people that don't think about. I mean, you get so caught up in your ego of success that you don't think about the fucking idea of how people are going to react to what you're putting out. And to me, it's like, I'm just flabbergasted. It was like allocated to 3 people to control. There was no like system for managing who gets what money and how it gets distributed. I mean, it was just a fucking train wreck. I'm thinking, there's this big deal platform, tons of volume going through it, and you don't have enough sense to like think about the fact that people are going to say no fucking way. So some big investors started reading the docs and were like, no, this is, I'm voting no on this, I think they may have also thought that because all the people that still had tokens from the airdrop would just vote yes, because it came from the foundation or whatever. But anyway, that's a mess. They're going to break it into multiple proposals instead of trying to do one big giant proposal and discuss them separately.
But didn't they go ahead and take the tokens anyhow? I read somewhere that
did they?
The Arbitrum guys took tokens, even though the vote said no. There was some media of that out this morning.
Well, here it is. Here's a tweet about it. Oh, Chris Black. They just assumed. I fucking hate Chris Black, but he and I have some synergies on decentralization. They just assumed the 4s would win. So they actually started utilizing the 750 million before the vote was done. But now the againsts are winning. Team now claims the vote was a ratification, not a request. What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, so who's still holding ARB? I'm not. I dumped mine I couldn't get into the big dump at the beginning because I wasn't, privy to that one. But I did get out at like $1.45 or something like that. I was like, the token has no purpose.
In hindsight, we should have made it clear. Yeah, because you do ETH on Arbitrum, right?
Yeah.
So it's fucking pointless. In hindsight, we should have made it clear that this was indeed a ratification of a decision that had been made. So why the fuck? We've made a decision, but we're going to put it up for vote anyway. What the fuck is that?
Okay, we've already stolen all the money, so you guys need to say yes. We already have it, so it doesn't matter at this point. If you say no, we still have it.
Exactly.
If you say yes, we have it. So thanks for playing.
You can beat off or you can vote. Pick.
Exactly.
The foundation treated this as a ratification of its initial setup, not an initial grant request from the DAO treasury, and indeed has begun to use these tokens in the interest of the DAO, including conversion of some funds into stable coins for operational purposes. Wow.
i.e.,
Wow.
private jets.
Paying people. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been watching. I set up another watch sheet just for all the Arbitrum stuff. And, I mean, you could just see the money pouring out the door, basically, heading over to like ZK Sync and StarkNet and starting to play there, getting ready for those airdrops. I mean, I don't really get much from those, but I've been reading about people that are pulling down like, 800 grand from the Arbitrum airdrop.
Wow.
And things like that. And I'm like, maybe I ought to hire somebody to do that.
That's fucking nut, right?
Of course, I'll never get to it, but
that's crazy, dude.
But then, look at like who's the guy we have? We have Merrick from Salo coming on Wednesday, and they have a layer 1 chain that's all an eco-friendly layer 1. Yeah. And honestly, I never heard about it until we met them at ETH Denver.
Oh no, we did some stuff on Salo, didn't we?
We talked to them
stuff on Salo. No, I thought we did some trading on Salo.
Maybe we did, and I just don't remember. But
maybe it's Seller that I'm thinking of.
I think it was Seller that we were doing stuff on.
Right,
yeah.
All right.
But there's so many chains. My point is, so you look at like even like CoreDAO. I mean, those guys are still holding it like $1.80 or something like that. But when does everybody eventually say, "Oh, there's 120 layer 1s out there"?
Yeah.
Which one's going to make it? Who knows? But
yeah.
Exactly. It's kind of like I look at Arbitrum, but I love Arbitrum's speed. I love the bridge, how cheap it is. I love a lot of stuff about it. But the token itself, I don't know if that has legs.
Niblet says, when ARB replacing ETH as gas on Arbitrum? I don't know if it is. James Strickland says, come on, guys, just a small billion. And he said they had already moved them beforehand. Unbelievable. Shizzy says, ARB is a governance token because it is now a DAO and is very new to being a DAO. I give them one fuck up before they call them shit. Yeah, but a $1 billion fuck up is a pretty significant fuck up. Here's the scary thing. 3 guys in charge of all this. And the 3 guys, none of them had enough fucking sense to say, what's going to be the perception of this when we put it out? Right? Or they had the hubris to say, we don't give a fuck what people think when we put this out. We've made this decision. Fuck you. Either way, not a good look. Not a great look. So,
yeah. I mean, you could definitely say, I would have been just banging press on before that event, before I took the billion. I've been banging press on, you're welcome, community. We rewarded you for all of the early, users, blah, blah, blah. We didn't have to do a token, but you guys are the best in the world. We wanted to make sure you knew how much we really appreciated you. And so we're also taking $1 billion to cover, accumulated expenses and other things for working capital and executive enhancement and retention and those types of things. So you guys enjoy your money. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Yeah. You could say it in ways where it's
lay
like,
it out before at least.
Yeah, make the value prop to the user so they don't flip out.
Yeah.
Whereas now everybody's like, okay, well, wait, how many tokens can they really take?
Yeah.
And are they going to dump?
Yep. Niblet says the ARB airdrop was enormous. Paid back all my GameFi losses. Good for you, man. He said Polygon is faster and cheaper than Arbitrum and has the market share. Little reason to use any other chain. Well, here's a reason for Solana devs to jump ship. This is really cool. This is fucking brilliant. Injective has launched a testnet, a layer 2 testnet, so that Solana apps can move to Cosmos ecosystem. So now,
wait, who are we talking to about? We were talking to somebody at Denver about that for like Solana devs, or was that?
I don't know.
Oh, there's so much going on in this space. I can't keep track of it all.
Anyway, this is brilliant. This is fucking brilliant.
I like it.
You've got all these dissatisfied, nervous, and angry Solana devs You want to grow Cosmos more. This is also could be good for Canto because Canto could adopt it eventually. And Injective Labs is smart enough to say, let's fucking build a layer for Solana apps to move over to Cosmos. It's really brilliant. Take advantage of the content, take advantage of the fact that people are nervous about the stability of the platform, and make it easy for them to move. Now they're only at testnet stage. The virtual machine is called C-level virtual machine, SVM. But to me, this is a really, really smart move. I really love this. Makes me very happy.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's, somebody, I think it was Simone at Phantom retweeted something today on like wallet addresses at the different chains. And, I think Solana was still in the second or third position. And I even think that they were ahead of ETH for some reason. And Phantom was fifth with 1 million wallets, but it was Solana was in there. Arbitrum was fourth. So I think ETH might have been, second or third or whatever. But the thing is that it was making me think about, all this new stuff. And I was thinking about Phantom when I saw that. And I mean, Phantom seems to be kind of like, doesn't it seem like Phantom's been super quiet lately? I mean, I see a lot of like tweeting and stuff going on, but I don't feel like they're making any big moves. Am I missing something there?
They've actually done a number of pretty powerful announcements, but they said they have made a concerted effort to say this year that they are not doing hype. They're not going to hype up shit. So they're doing the account abstraction. The new FVM is launching by the end of the year. But I think that their
is that the gasification model? Is that the gasification thing?
That's the thing that dramatically increases performance and throughput.
Okay.
Massive increase of the performance of the entire chain. And they're doing the account abstraction, which Ethereum has done, which is pulls it away from having to deal with wallet setups and seed phrases, allows people to build interactions that are email and password based if you want to, whatever. So you can log into dApps and do things on the dApp without having to do the whole wallet setup. So they're doing those kinds of things, but they very consciously said that they were trying to reduce hype. They were trying to just build, get everything going, and then, they'll ramp up more, I guess, on the hype machine afterwards. But I don't know of any big new releases or launches on Phantom. I haven't heard of any, but they also are revamping their entire voting system for allocation of treasury to projects, that kind of thing. So I think they just decided this year was going to be the year when they dramatically increase performance of the network. I'm confident when the FVM launches on mainnet that they're going to hype the shit out of that, because developers are going to be saying, oh my God, I can build, high performance, real-time stuff on Phantom now that I couldn't do anywhere else before. So we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, by the way, for everybody, I don't think I talked about this last week, but my episode with Akash is up. The CPU compute platform. So competing against Amazon, Azure, all of those. That's up at Mission DeFi. And then on Friday, I launched the Redstone interview. So the Redstone interview went live on Friday, and then it is up on the podcast feed and at missiondefi.com. Both of those I found to be really interesting. And I think those are both going to be big plays in the space. I think Redstone is making all the right moves. They're announcing some really big blue chip dApps that are adopting their Oracle system here sometime in May, I think is what they said in the interview.
Yeah, I like those guys a lot. They were cool.
Good shit.
Who was the other guys doing account abstraction? Was that Open Zeppelin? Were they talking?
Well, I think Open Zeppelin was involved with the Ethereum account abstraction thing.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I was just trying to remember who was talking about that, because that was quite a topic of the day out at ETH Denver. A lot of people were talking abstraction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got a couple of more things, but I want to hold on. Let me pull this. Where the fuck is this link? I want to talk about our buddy who almost got scammed, went public with the scam. So everybody knows him as Eamon. So,
Oh, the Velas stuff?
yeah. So
Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah, Eamon went public with the attempted what he perceives as, and I think he's right, was an attempted scam on him. Posted a Substack article about it and wanted people to understand how it worked so that they could avoid getting scammed like this. Since he started asking questions, those guys have been like deleting messages, and so I think he's pretty safe in some of his assumptions, but I have no proof one way or the other. But what I can tell you is there was some scammery going on with regards to them hijacking Discord server links for that project. And everything that he's documented in this Substack will really shine some lights on how sophisticated people can be when they try to set you up and scam you. And when he brought it up to me, it didn't smell right and it seemed too easy.
Yeah.
The first thing I said out of the gate was, you were recently a victim of a hack, and they're looking for people that were recently victims because we have this underlying human need to get back what we've lost. And so that's what scammers love to play on, is people who've already recently been victimized. And so anyway, kudos to Eamon. Zero G's on Twitter for posting this and giving the details and outlining everything that occurred. I'm proud of him for coming forward with it. I think it's a good service to the community, and I'm glad he avoided losing his money. So
yeah. I was wondering if they picked it off of, like, if they were going through the Euler like messaging boards and things and picking names.
Came out of a conversation from the Euler hack. Right. So Eamon was in conversations with other Euler people, and somebody DM'd him and they just started chatting, and they were very sophisticated. They didn't immediately come on to him for investment. They had him write up a report and a tokenomics thing for something they were looking at for investments, but they didn't hit him with it yet. Right. So they built up the anticipation, made it feel like he was part of something, community, blah, 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 had some informal conversations, brought a bunch of people together to talk through investment issues and how the thing was going to work and blah, blah, blah. Had him start off with a low amount that he thought he might want to invest, and then put pressure on him, and then put a time deadline on him. And so he was already kind of, it's that whole getting the yeses, right? Getting agreement. It's very difficult for humans to pull back once they've agreed to something. And so they just used all the classic persuasion tactics, but I'm glad he was able to avoid it. And I'm glad he published this so everybody can learn from it.
Remember that play? Yeah, well done, Eamon, by the way. Remember that play like a couple of years ago where somebody was doing something where they were up going, if you've had, whatever seed phrases stolen, wallets hacked, whatever, we're collecting a database up of all the, hacks and stuff. So come share your information with us. And so people go there and share their information, and then they get the rest of their wallet emptied. It was just like the same thing,
Yeah, exactly.
When people get burned, they blame themselves, of course, and they want to get it back. And so they're a little bit more desperate. So it's definitely something to, always keep in mind if you make a mistake when that next person shows up that you don't know.
Yeah.
Be careful that they're not marking you at that point.
Exactly.
But what else? I was looking at that one myself. Yeah, I was going to respond to that as well.
Yeah, Niblet says, so perhaps time to allocate some to accumulate FTM. I always think it's a good time. I really like the project. I like the people over there. Obviously not financial advice, and you should do your own research. But I think that Phantom has a good team and a good future from a technology and project perspective. And so I have personal relations. Joe and I both have relationships with people on that team, and we, I'll speak for myself. I like the team. I think they're able, capable, strong. And I think they've been adding to the team, people like Jose, who are really brilliant and driven. And so frankly, my personal goal is to accumulate more. So
I like them a lot too. Always kind of have, just because it was always fast. back, a couple years ago or whatever. I like their kind of strategies now for the regulatory landscape. They're basically trying not to do anything in the U.S.
Yep.
So I like that. The only thing that worries me about them a little bit is just the Andre Cronje overhang. Because if they're out indicting CZs of the world and people like that, how could you not be a target after Time Wonderland and all the rebasing fiascos?
Yeah.
That worries me a little bit.
Yeah. Knowing though, look, the only thing I want Andre to do is communicate. I think he helps drive, a lot of the architecture and development that happens, but there's 100 plus developers on the team.
Yeah.
And building this thing. And I think there are people with strong visions and strong tech skills on that team as it is. If something were to happen to Andre, I think that's a valid concern. I would be concerned about it. I don't think he's here in the US, so I'd be less concerned about it.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah. And I also think
he got a better passport vendor than Do Kwon.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's a valid thing to be concerned about. But I also think he's made himself less important to the overall piece of it. But I am so impressed with the way he's turned around his communication skills, because he was a fucking train wreck.
Yeah, he was.
He's done a great job.
And look, the price, I think it's in like the mid 40s right now, Phantom. I mean, the last cycle, I believe I was in that at like 3-4 cents or something, and was selling a bunch of it at like a couple bucks. I mean, it's gonna, like all of them, it'll run. I mean, it's definitely a top 5, top 7. I'd say it fits in that range. Top 5, top 7, like of all the layer 1, layer 2 plays or hybrid plays.
Yeah.
At least top 10 for sure. And so that's gonna go. And I've been watching the range for the last couple of months. I mean, not financial advice, but I don't see why that one gets left behind.
Yeah.
If everyone else goes forward.
Yeah.
And I like their moves too. I like what they're building. I don't see how you could hurt yourself accumulating. But I haven't looked at charts. I'd love to hear Sean's chart take on that. I mean, just like how he did with Kanto and other ones, looks at it and says this is what he thinks.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what he thought about that chart for FTM.
Absolutely.
But no financial advice from any of us, of course.
Let's see what else I had. Oh, this annoys the fuck out of me, but whatever.
Which one?
I just keep seeing articles published by these sites saying U.S. crackdown will push crypto center of gravity to Hong Kong, says Kaiko CEO. I'm sorry. If you're moving your crypto company to Hong Kong because of U.S. regulatory pressure, you're a bigger idiot. You shouldn't be running a company. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Like, you're going to move from the U.S., which is already screwing it up, to Hong Kong, where at any moment the Chinese government can just shut the whole fucking thing down, and has shut it down in a massive, for billions of people. I'm sorry. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm all for the people of Hong Kong welcoming crypto, but I sure as hell wouldn't put a company there.
No, I mean, look, unless you have to really, what is that?
If you're
Chinese,
SEC,
maybe
the CCP is exactly where you would want to be. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Right? There's some logic there.
There you go.
Sean says, how about we don't move any place other than the internet? That would be lovely. That would be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, the one thing is that even though it's a total shit show here right now, you pretty much got to really screw the pooch before people are kicking on your door and taking your stuff.
Yeah.
Just a routine SEC violation. You get served papers and you get lawyers and you go deal with it.
Right.
I mean, if you're running scams, of course, you're going to get in big trouble. But for someone that's got a legitimate protocol running that may or may not have done an ICO 4 years ago, I wouldn't be heading out the door to Hong Kong.
No,
I don't know if I'd be heading anywhere, for that matter, because I think we're going to see a lot of CFTC pushback here now. I think we'll see a lot more legislation coming out because, again, we see all this not this FUD everywhere, negative stuff, but then all you got to do is sit down and see what's going on in the space. Fidelity, Nasdaq custodying
Exactly.
Bitcoin, crypto, and all of that. Fidelity with where you can do it. I mean, those are some pretty major players that they don't seem too concerned about whatever the SEC is saying or the CFTC is saying. They're just doing it. So,
Yep.
I think a lot of Wall Street pushback is coming. And so I don't think there's really any need to be rushing out the door at
Yep.
this point.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to go do an ICO and a fundraise or do all the things they say not to do,
Yep.
then, hey, yeah, go say hi to your friends in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
But they're not going to let you do it either.
Yeah.
So it's because it makes sense to me. I'm with you.
I did forget a bit of news about Phantom. There's going to be a vote to reduce the number of tokens needed for a staking node from 500,000 to between 50 and 100,000. They're deciding on the amount.
Oh, I did like that.
100,000. And that obviously is a good thing. Like more nodes, more people staking, making it easier to do that is a very positive thing. So that I'm happy to see as well. So
wait, those nodes are paying. You told me this before when you did the math on it a couple months ago, but what are they paying? Like about 15% interest on those nodes?
Yeah, you get you
with
pay
rewards
out
and everything.
6%. You end up with, I think, at about 15%. So
got it. Okay.
Yeah. Depending on how obviously your payback is how many of the tokens on your node are yours versus how many of the tokens are other people's, right? Because you're sharing,
right?
They're getting some of it.
So you kind of need enough to set one up, and then you market for other people to delegate with you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Shizzy says Lafa from Phantom Project talks about how the FVM could be what the NASDAQ eventually goes to trade securities on, probably 10 years away. Yeah, supposedly that fast. Sean says Fidelity and NASDAQ will be the on-ramps for the next bull run. They kill the old ones and allow regulated ones. Not good for the already coin space. Not good for the already coin space.
I think those who already have it maybe have
maybe.
coins.
Yeah, maybe. Niblet says, do we need to pull some funds to get some FTM nodes? It will be easier than Canto nodes. Yes and yes. I agree. We've had some discussions about that, potentially doing that. So by the way, we have Chuck has worked very hard to set up an initial Canto node, and now we're setting up a diversified capability with mirrored servers so that we don't risk any slashing. So he's working on that as well. Sean meant altcoin, not good for the altcoin space. Yes. Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah. I'm sure Fidelity's not going to add a ton of altcoins, but the fact that they are essentially banking crypto projects is a very positive thing, and that they now do allow Ethereum and Bitcoin trading. I don't know yet. I still haven't been able to confirm whether or not they allow people to withdraw via wallet there, or if you have to cash out first. But anyway, Niblet says Canto slashing scared me. Yeah, we had a few calls with ours where we got frozen, but we didn't get slashed. But then we figured out some new settings and changes from the system to make it better. So anyway,
what was the slashing problem there? What was it?
So when you're a staking node for a chain, if you have downtime or miss blocks, then you can get slashed. So you can lose some of the tokens that you put up for the node. And so, and that's part of
so like if you're not up, if your uptime isn't like 99.9999%, right?
You can have missed blocks and catch up. It's only if you miss too many blocks and you can't catch up because it's too far ahead of you. But Chuck has come up with some innovative methods for handling that. So we'll have more news about that once we get that up and running. Yeah.
If anybody can pull that off, it's Chuck.
Exactly. I got nothing else, Joe. I'm good. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Yuga Labs continues their march.
Is this the same Activision guy with the sexual harassment claim and everything, or is this another one?
The exact same guy. Sexual harassment claims. And these guys are just like, I heard an interview with the founders of Yuga Labs. I listened to a long podcast interview with them and was really impressed. Sound like, salt of the earth kind of dudes. But then they just keep doing shit that I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you draw fire by hiring the Activision CEO? What good does that fucking do you? You got enough money. You can hire a lot of game industry CEOs. This guy was a fucking train wreck. He's probably going to get bogged down in lawsuits from the Activision shit anyway. But just, I don't understand people.
There was one other thing I was going to say. I just thought like Shizzy put that comment in, but I did also hear today that a lot of small banks are stepping up to take over crypto client business.
Good. That's good news.
They're smaller than SVB or Signature. Yep. So there's a whole group of them coming up that have just said, screw it. We're going to do it. So I think this kind of is going to choke point. It's like, what was that? The Hydra, where you cut off one head and like, how many heads grow back? 10 or 2 or something?
Let's hope so.
This is what I feel. It's the same thing, which just decentralizes it more, which is better for all of us. So
exactly.
Hopefully the pain leads to gain.
On the node thing, Chuck said you can miss about 3,000 blocks, about 4 hours of downtime. Niblet says Sean has charts show money flight from BTC, but there's a similar flight of cash from bank deposits. Gold and bonds are up and not enough to count. Where is the money going? Mattresses. Joe, I got to drop. I got 1 o'clock, so I'm going to cut us off here if you're good. Everybody, thank you so much for participating.
I'm good.
Shizzy, Chuck, Sean, Eamon for providing content without being here. James, we love you guys. We appreciate all of you. I don't think I missed anybody. Thanks so much for being here and participating. It was a great discussion. Great to be back today. We will chat tomorrow. We have one of the guys from Cello on Wednesday. And of course, we have Sean on Thursday for Sean Day. I hope everyone has a great Monday afternoon. We'll see you guys tomorrow. If you are listening to us on the podcast, please take a minute to rate and review us. If you're on YouTube, please take a moment to subscribe, click the little bell so you get alerted when new episodes come out, and be sure and smash the thumbs up so we get boosted in the algorithm. Joe, have fun at the dentist today. It's great chatting with you.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Yeah. My mouth will be all stretched out after this. But yeah, no, good chatting with you too. I love this format.
Oh, you can't leave me with an opening like that, dude. Go ahead.
Oh my, where does your mind go?
I hope all goes well, sir.
It'll be fine. It's just routine. Right. But yeah, great show. And everybody, again, I love it, Shizzy in particular, you guys, that's what I was kind of thinking about when I said that, Chuck. Chuck says, good thing it's not the proctologist. But Shizzy, you NFT guys and everything, take a look at OFI and ORD. I'm really kind of curious of what you think of those. There's not much to look at, but also any other ordinal plays that you guys are looking at. I'd appreciate that. We can chat about that tomorrow.
All right, folks.